Developing a kick-ass mindset. How Taekwondo helped Donna Franklin achieve more than she ever thought possible. Donna Franklin was born into poverty, but she never let that stop her from achieving her dreams. She is now a six-figure earner and has worked with some of the biggest names in personal development, including Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. In this video, Donna shares her story and offers advice for anyone who wants to achieve great things and develop a kick-ass mindset. Stay tuned. You're about to go on a wellness-driven ride. We have an incredible guest here today on the show. Let me introduce her. Donna Franklin is an inspiration to all who know her. She is a top realtor in Keller Williams and has 2 best-selling books. Donna's positivity and determination are evident in everything she does. She loves her family and friends and animals and works tirelessly to help others achieve their dreams. Donna developed and wrote My Kick-Ass Mindset, which chronicles her incredible journey from extreme poverty to making 6 figures. She also has worked with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, who have praised her for her dedication to helping others reach their potential. Please help me welcome Donna Franklin.
Hi, April. Thank you so much. Wow, what a wonderful introduction.
Oh, my pleasure, Donna. Well, you deserve it because you wouldn't be on the show otherwise. Well, introduce yourself to our audience. We're so excited to have you.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. As April said, I am Donna Franklin, and I guess I just my story is I did grow up in extreme poverty. I have 3 siblings, and we all struggled with not having food as we were growing up. And the only way that I said that we survived, I should say, was having free breakfast and free lunch at school. And for, a few years after we had started school, we didn't even have free breakfast. So we were struggling, to make it to lunch. When you have a headache and you're trying to listen to what the teacher says and trying to do what she asks, or he or she asks, and you're having a hard time and you're trying to not let the other kids know that your stomach's growling. And, it's just all those things that you're dealing with. So, yeah, it's been an interesting journey. And I'm not saying that mine's any different than anyone else. And I know others have it far worse than what I did, but it was a struggle,
I think I think we should always be okay to shed light on our own experience. And what I like about how you paint the picture for people is for those who haven't experienced hunger, you are painting that picture of when you're that hungry, you can't think. And as a child who's growing, so rapidly as children do, you need that nourishment even more so, because the body's in that development stage and, they're in school. You have to be able to think. So I really appreciate that perspective when you talk about that. And it brings this reality of it for you. And when you first told me that, I was like, it's such a shame that we're experiencing that still.
I agree.
So thank you for sharing that. Can you tell me more?
Of course. So because of growing up that way, and then when I wrote my book, there was a lot of things that I remembered that I had suppressed, right? And it's been about 7 years ago, and I just felt this prompting that I needed to go and help one of the schools, and I put it off. I did for 2 years, and then finally about 5 years ago, I'm like, okay, Lord, I guess this is you telling me get off your butt and get going. And so I went to one of the schools, and it was actually a school that my daughter had gone to here in San Antonio, and I just went to them and I said, listen, when my daughter was in your school, we actually helped the kids that, for Christmas, we would go buy some of the families Christmas gifts. And so I just said, this has been on my heart for at least a couple of years. I really want to start a program so that I can make sure that the kids don't have to grow up the way I did and be hungry. And so I started that about 5 years ago, and it has been such a great success. During the normal school year, I help, because what I do is I supply the funds, and the counselor, she actually goes and gets the food, mostly non-perishables. And we also bought backpacks. And so she gets the kids to come in every Thursday and pack their backpacks so that they can take them home with them, the food home with them. And if they have siblings, then they'll put more food in the backpacks and they'll take that home with them so that they don't have to worry about not having food on the weekends. Because that's what we worried about. We're just, we didn't have any food on the weekends in most cases. So it's been a great thing. And I really want to expand it all across San Antonio. That's what my goal is.
I think you have even bigger goals than that, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. You're right. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the immediate goal is, and that's what my book, that with the proceeds from anybody purchasing my book, that's what it's going to. And
I didn't know that. That's incredible.
yeah. And so that's why I'm hoping everybody will just go on and purchase a book. And I mean, it's only $20, and it's on my website. And so if they'll just purchase that, then that will help me I really do. I want to expand it, but I really would love to start doing some fundraisers and get it all across the country. We should not, this is the greatest country in the world. We should not have children going to school hungry, right? Just like you said earlier. So you're right. That's my goal.
No, yeah, there you go, Donna. That's what I want to hear, because there's your passion and your drive shining through.
Yeah.
And what I love about your program is it's so intimately intertwined with your experience as a child, and who better to create something than someone who has been in those shoes, who has experienced it themselves, and the exact needs because you've been there, you've experienced it. And so, having the food for when you go home, because just because you don't have it throughout the day, obviously you're not going to have it at home either, or else you would have it at school, right? So, there's oftentimes more than one child. And so what you're doing is incredible. Let's go a little bit deeper. I want to find out a little bit more on your journey and how you got here, because the fact that you're able to do this is wonderful. The fact that you're able to give back and meet these huge dreams that you have, where did that come from? So let's start with what's the critical turning point that you had from a younger age when you wanted to get out of that poverty aspect?
That's a great question. When I was 8 years old, I knew I was leaving where I lived, which was in Alabama. And I don't know why, but I just knew I was leaving. And whenever I was 16 years old and I could start working, I started working at a shoe store. So I wasn't making much money, but I was going to school half the day, and then the other half was working. And that was part of the distributive education program. And so it took me a couple of years to build up some money. And so when I was 18, I remembered this when I was writing my book, and I had suppressed so many different things. And so when I was 18, I remember walking into a store because I thought I need to buy at least a pair of pants and a shirt, right? And so I walked into the store, And I realized I didn't know how to buy clothes for myself. I had
Mm.
never done that before. I had never been in a store to buy something for myself. And as I was writing my book, I actually did write that in the book. But April, I don't even know if I purchased anything that day. I don't remember because it was so traumatic. And I remember getting into my car and I thought, I am not living like this anymore. I don't want to live in poverty. I don't want to struggle from every day to every day, paycheck to paycheck, worrying if I'm going to have food. What about in the future? When I get a family,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
so that's when I decided that day is the day that I decided I was not going to live like that anymore. And that's when I started searching out anybody that I could as far as in the self-help industry and and that's when I discovered Tony Robbins. And I mean,
Mhm.
he has been such a great mentor with his books and his audios, and it's been amazing. And that's when it began because I knew I would not live like that ever again.
Donna, that is such a empowering story you shared. Uh, and I love that you have that specific moment in time where you sat there in the car
Yeah,
and you said, I don't want to experience this anymore.
exactly.
I don't want to experience this anymore. And what I want to take us back to a little bit is you talked about when you were in the process of writing your book, you suppressed a lot of memories. And so I want to take our audience to a perspective of how many of us truly suppress so much of our trauma experiences, and how we've held on to that without knowing that's the subconscious aspect that we keep replaying, without knowledge until we shine some light on it. And so, I mean, I almost want to say, would you recommend? Because to me, you did this through the power of writing.
Mhm.
And so what made you decide to write a book to begin with? And what would you say to the audience about maybe that aspect as a self-healing, self-reflection move?
Oh, absolutely. I what well, what I was going through before I ever wrote the book was I just had all these different feelings, and I really obviously we were just coming out of COVID, and I knew that we all needed to have a better mindset, right? We needed to get back to where we should be. And I thought I actually have tried to every day to have a good mindset. And so I thought I can share that.
Mm.
And that's when so I was taking a course from Dean and Tony, right? And they were talking about building a course. Well, that's when I thought I want to write a book. I want to write a book so that others can read the book and they can see how to develop their own kick-ass mindset, right? And so that's really where it came from, was going through a course with Dean and Tony. And so I also developed a course after I wrote the book to go along with the book. And so on my website, anyone can go to that and they can purchase my book. There's an audio version of the book if they want to do that. And then there's a full course that if they want to, they can purchase it on there as well. And I actually have it as half price for your listeners and for your audience. But in the meantime, if they also wanted to get started on something, then I created a mini course, and I would love to make sure that you get that copy of that. So if any of your viewers or your audience wants to have that, I would love to provide that to them for free so that they can go deeper. And I promise you, when they go through that mini course, it will really help them to see that they need to do a little bit more soul searching, and it will help
Mhm.
them to do just that. Because what I've done is at the back or on this mini course, at the back of each one of the chapters, and it's the first 3 chapters in the book that I go through and use the mini course for. And at the end of that, there's exercises for everyone to go through the exercises and to be able to help them to kind of do the same things that I did, which was to figure out where they needed to be and how they could get there. So that's in not only the mini course that I'm going to give you, but also in the full course on my website.
That's wonderful. I think that's just incredible when people are really willing to step outside and help others, based on your own experiences and turning it into wisdom and being able to give back to people so they can have a faster access to, bettering themselves as a human being. And so I'm really excited. Thank you so much.
Bella Grace Skincare. It's more than skincare. It's your shortcut to a more youthful, healthy, and beautiful you. Step 1. Cleanse with the Enzyme Collagen Cleanser. Gently exfoliates and removes dead skin cells. Brightens and evens out skin tones. Repairs damage caused by environmental stressors. Protects skin's barrier function. Use daily for clean, smooth, glowing skin. Experience the Bella Grace Enzyme Collagen Cleanser for a refreshing start and a radiant finish. Step 2. Treat with the Dewy Serum. Deeply hydrates and locks in moisture. Protects from free radical damage. Targets multiple signs of aging. Boosts microcirculation, revealing a youthful, radiant, dewy complexion. Dewy Serum goes beyond ordinary skincare, leading you to a realm of glowing, rejuvenated beauty. Step 3. Replenish with the Collagen Plumping Moisturizer. Reduces fine lines and wrinkles. Deeply hydrates. Boosts collagen production. Firms and smooths the skin. Experience an intense surge of moisture that leaves your skin feeling supple and soft to the touch. Celebrate your skin and elevate your beauty with Bella Grace Skincare.
So, Donna, I'd love to know. Let's start with, how did you get interested in the martial arts to begin with?
When I was growing up, I used to watch Bruce Lee, and I love Bruce Lee. He's
Mhm.
my hero. And I honestly, it was just watching him, the way he moved and what he could do with his body. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I honestly think, April, that it came from growing up, and my mother. She was a good person. She just didn't have any idea of
Mm.
how to, what not to say to kids, and so she made all of us very fearful. And she'd talk about people, like they're going to break in our house, or they're going to hurt us and things like that. And so I grew up with that mindset.
Oh,
And
wow.
oh yeah, and every home that I have had as an adult, I have had an alarm system because of that fear. And so after my divorce, my daughter and I were living in Colorado. And every day, dropping her off at either school or daycare, I would pass by the Family Martial Arts Studio. And Chris Natsky, you've had him on your show, right?
Yes.
And that's how I met him, because one day I thought, all right, Donna, if you do not do something now, you are not going to ever do it, or it could be, 5, 10 years down the road. So I went into the studio and I grabbed just a schedule. And so that evening, after I put my daughter to bed, I looked through it and I thought, you know what, I can actually do this. I can make this happen. I was tired again of feeling helpless, and like I
Mm.
just, I didn't have control over things, right? Especially my mind, right? And
Yeah.
so, because that fear, it was unfounded. It's just, it had been with me my entire life. And I
Yeah.
thought, I don't want to be like that. I want to be like Bruce Lee. You know, I'm not anywhere close to that, but it took me 5.5 years, but I finally got my first degree black belt. And that has been the proudest moment. That was the first time I ever felt proud of myself because I set a goal and I achieved it. It's
Oh,
been amazing.
that's so beautiful. And I didn't, I sadly, I didn't go into the martial arts, and that doesn't mean that I can't ever yet. Because I agree with you, when you put effort into those things, you can't experience anything but pride. And I felt that, with police academy, and when I would apply for agencies, and I was in such great physical shape that both men and women were dropping like flies around me because I was doing so well in the physical aspect, and having an autoimmune disease and being able to say I did this. And so I can relate with you there, and I think that is so cool that you did that. And you said it took 5 years, so
Mhm.
it's not like, I think that we live in such a microwave time.
Yeah.
Where people think, I want it now, I want it now,
Mhm.
because instant gratification is what we experience here in this zone on TV, on our phones, everything. It's the time of information, and
Mhm.
there's no longer an excuse for ignorance, so it's stuff like that.
Right.
And I think that is such a cool story, and it's obvious how much that has shown up for you and how impactful that has been for you, because the cover of your book is that it is your black belt.
It is.
Yeah. And I wish I would have placed that picture on here, and I apologize to the audience that I didn't. However, it is in the flyer, so you get to see that. And when you go to purchase her book, you'll see for yourself, and you'll have that beautiful copy of what the martial arts means. And it's not just about that physical aspect, it's that mental aspect that it brings too.
Absolutely. And my daughter, so I would have to go. I mean, I was going 2 to 3 nights a week, and she was only 4 at the time. And so 5.5 years later, she actually sees me getting my black belt. And, so she actually got up to red belt, which was just 2 away from black, but then we moved. So she didn't get to experience that, but it's been really, it was great because she could see other people that were there and what they just how they performed and how they carried themselves, and right. And
Yeah, yeah, you're showing her what that pride looks like, what taking care of yourself and doing things for yourself looks like. So very, very powerful. I love that. Can you tell me, who have been the biggest influences for you on your personal development journey?
well, I mean, I honestly have to say that, first of all, with in Taekwondo, Chris Natsky, he is an amazing instructor. He's an amazing individual, as you know, and he was the first person that I really felt cared and gave a crap, I guess you'd say, right? About me
Mm.
getting where I needed to go and where I wanted to go. And then after that, the other two people have been Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, because those two men, they don't ever have to work another day in their lives because they have been so successful. And yet daily, they help people like myself, and all across the world, they are helping people to fulfill their dreams. And I mean, they're just, so those three individuals have been have meant the most to me and have helped me to get to where I need to be.
Donna, what persuaded you to work with Tony Robbins further? I know that you were influenced at a young age, but what drew you to go deeper with that?
Well, I just felt like I needed more, right? And so Tony and Dean it was actually during COVID. And that's when they created this studio that had, that they could have a million people, I believe, in the studio, that they could see them all around. I mean, it was amazing, the studio, and it cost several $1,000,000 for them to do that. But they held a challenge. It was a free challenge. And I just went and I listened. It was like a 3-day thing, it was 2 or 3 hours a day and just listening. And I mean, they are such givers. They would give us good information and okay, we'll give you this free gift and all these things. And so after that, that's when I actually joined their class, is what it was at first. And so ever since that, and that's been about 4 years ago, I guess. And then it's just been, I've every year I have gotten into something else with them because I love and I trust both of them so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really inspiring. And I know that this has been a real game changer for you when you started working more closely. And when we get back from this next commercial, I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, on what shifts were made, what changes were made, and how it was a game changing experience. Right when we come back. So tell me a little bit more, Donna, about what have you learned so far from Tony and Dean?
Oh my gosh.
Where do we begin?
Yeah, I know. Where do I begin? So really, it was about, I think the best thing that I've learned is that if we have a great mindset, that we can do whatever we want to. We just need a little bit of training. We need to know how to get there. I mean, we can have all the greatest intentions, but if we don't have someone to guide us, then we could be going in a different direction. And Tony tells a story always that he says, so he's a pilot, and among other things, right?
Yeah.
And he says, when you're flying from one place to another, I think he says about 85% of the time you're going you're off course. And so that's just the way it's meant to be. But then of course you adjust, you make adjustments the closer you get to your destination, and you go to the right airport. And so he says that's kind of like the way it is in life. You can have the greatest intentions, but if you're, as you're going and as you're traveling, if you don't make that adjustment, then you're not going to get to where you want to be. And I love that analogy because he's so right. And that's why I love Dean and Tony. I love their products that they have. I love what they say. I listen to them all the time. As a matter of fact, in the mornings when I'm getting ready, the last week, I've had one of Tony's, videos on YouTube as I'm showering and getting ready and all that, just because inspiration you need to have every day, right? I think Jim Rohn, if anybody knows who he is, he says inspiration is like a bath. You need it daily, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
that is so true, because we need to start off our day with something that inspires us or that we really think is great. And we can start off on a great foot, because how many of us every day get up and go, "Ah, yes, this is a great day," right? I mean, some of us do, but not most of us, right? So I think that we have to get something that inspires us every day in order to start our day off better. And that was something that I did learn from Tony. And I thought, you know what? He's right. I am going to listen to something positive every single day, just so that I can keep my mindset properly in the right, going in the right direction, and make sure I can accomplish everything that I want to accomplish. But that was something that I learned from Tony and Dean, that we can get to where we want to be. We just need a little guidance.
Mm. Okay, so I heard a few different things. You need the guidance, the
Mhm.
coaching, other people to cheer you on, that community aspect,
Yeah.
and also little things, little shifts all the time,
All the time.
daily, hourly, minutely, if that's a
Yeah.
word. Secondly, it's not words, but the point is just consistency,
Mhm.
and knowing that we do need to always do that we're not done. And so I know those are a few things. Do you have any other tips or tricks to share with people on how you maintain that discipline?
If I could say one more thing about that, and then yes, I would
Yeah.
love to do that. So I actually have been holding speaking engagements as well. And what I do is, I go through and I talk about my experiences, how I grew up, and then how, right? And so then I get to the end and we break a board.
Mhm.
And but in during my class, I one of the slides, when I bring it up, it actually has a glass and it has water in it. And I say to the audience, "Okay, so what is this?" And some people will say, "Well, it's a glass with water in it." And I'm like, so then my next slide says, "Is it half empty or half full?" Right? And some will say, and I ask that question, "Okay, who thinks it's half empty?" And people will raise their hand. "Okay, who thinks it's half full?" And the others will raise their hand. Are you both right? Absolutely. It's just a matter of the way you look at it, right?
Mm, mhm.
And so I tell them, how many things in your life right now are you looking at it with a different perspective, that maybe if you just changed your thought just a little bit, that you could change your life, right?
Mm.
So go a little deeper, think about it, kind of, and so that's been, people love that because they never have thought about that before, right?
Yeah.
And it's so true. Um, but that's been a journey. And then if I could share this last thing too, with one of the last classes that I held, I had this little lady and she was so sweet. And so I wasn't looking at the boards because one person had said, "Oh, it's private. Don't look at it." So right before we break at the boards, I furnish the boards and I furnish a marker and I say, "Okay, write something on the board that you're struggling with. You want to overcome
Mm.
whatever it is you want to accomplish." And
Mhm.
this little lady, she walks up to me and I'm holding, she hands me the board. And so I'm holding the board. And she said, "The oncologist would not like this, but she says, I'm breaking this board because I'm beating this cancer."
Mm.
And I got chills and I was like, "Yes, you are." And I held the board and I said, "Now you can break, and she broke it the first time. And she
Yes.
looks at me, and I think for the first time, she truly believed she
Believed.
beat it. And I'm like, yes, that's why I do this. That's why I want to. I love that. I was like, oh my gosh, I never expected it, but
Mm.
it's amazing. So I think that's why I want to do it. But I just want to help as many people as possible, just so that they can realize their potential and they can realize that they really truly can, with the right mindset, accomplish anything that they put their minds to. You know?
Mm. I agree. There is nothing like that experience when we see others s- understand and know. It's the knowing, the internal knowing of I am capable. There are more possibilities. And it's just such a cool thing. And we get to relate with that because we've been there too. We've experienced that also, and being able to share that. And to me, that's what evolution is. It's being able to share those stories and empowering others, and then we all get that. And so the higher we raise each other, the better we become overall. And then it just catches fire and influences, all of the people that they know and are surrounded by. So it
Absolutely.
is very, very cool. I love that story. I love that she broke the board the first time and that she's older and that she had this dream and desire to say, I'm not having this. This isn't my reality.
Exactly.
And I believe that it can be different.
For sure. But in answer to your question, and actually, let me go back. I think that that's what you do with this podcast is you have amazing guests that will help to inspire other people. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm just saying,
Well,
I
it is you.
well,
It
thank
is you.
I mean, I've actually seen your guests. You've had some amazing guests on here. And so I know that you're inspiring people daily.
Oh,
So,
thank you, Donna. Well, I want you to know that you are a part of that.
oh,
And
thank
yes, that's absolutely the goal of the Wellness Driven Life Show is to push out amazing information to inspire, to have people relate and apply things in their own life as they so desire to make a change for themselves.
sure. Well, and what I do daily to make sure I'm inspired is honestly, I have such a big goal, right? I mean, that's huge goal, even just to get the feeding the children all across San Antonio. That's a huge goal. But then to have that go any even further and get it all across the United States, it seems overwhelming, but it's such a worthy goal. And I'm like, I'm going to achieve it. I will achieve it. And I do have family members that I want to help. There's my three sisters. I only have three sisters, but every single one of them have some major illnesses, and I want to help them. And I have other family members that need some help, and then I have some friends that need some help. So not only do I want to help all the children, but I have some special people, other special people in my life that I truly want to help as well. So
I really love that. And I get excited about that because when we first spoke about that,
mhm,
and me being a managing director for eWomen Network and having a chapter with that, and the vision and the goal is to help 1 million women achieve $1 million in annual revenue. And I always say it's not about that achievement, but it's about what you do with it.
exactly.
Because when you're a giver, it changes the world.
It does.
And it gets me excited to think about the people that are close to me and how I can give back and how I can help them. And it just brings so much joy. So I love that you're doing that you're a part of that. We're going to go to another commercial, our last commercial. And when we get back, let's talk some more, Donna.
Sounds wonderful.
KimJacobsConsulting.com. People say opportunity knocks on every door. Right. No. Opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. So I want you to recognize that this is a time for you. This is an incredible time to have your own talk show. It establishes a level of credibility.
Yes.
And by being exposed to people on a regular basis, it allows you to strategically begin to impact and attract your audience. She can take you in a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. So go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. That's KimJacobsConsulting.com. Did I say KimJacobsConsulting.com? Yes, you did. Very good. Make sure you go there and sign up for the coaching, and we're looking forward to working with you. You have something special. You have greatness within you.
Speaking of lifting others, right? So, Donna, you have such an incredible story, and really going from extreme poverty to where you are now, which I know you feel nice and comfortable, but you have these huge dreams and goals.
Okay.
And so part of achieving that is through the sales of your books and community support, and eventually, support across the US and maybe even wider. I know that you have these huge potentials. Do you want to talk a little bit about, when was the point where it shifted for you, where you got out of that poverty aspect and you knew that you had this dream and this goal?
So I've always loved helping others, right? It's just I haven't always had the means to be able to do that. Whenever I started in real estate, I started in, gosh, it's been 16 years ago now. And after the third year, that's when I started making six figures. And I was helping some family members at the time. And I always seem to be helping, someone, which is great. And that's exactly what I want to do. But I knew also that I needed to expand that. And so it was really after I was able to help at a few people that I knew that I needed to expand that and wanted to expand that. So it's just been a few years, but that's why I think with what I've got going on now, I want to start. That was one of the reasons I wrote my book, is so that I could have the proceeds from that to expand what I want to do. And then also once I start getting more sales, then I will also expand, and I want to have some fundraisers so that I can be able to expand the program and then just keep doing that. So.
Oh, that's so exciting. Let's go back into a little bit more about what you're offering, because I want to say what advice would you give to somebody who's just beginning their personal development journey?
Right. You know what? Seek out people that really resonate with you. And everyone is going to have somebody different. There are so many self-help gurus out there, if you will, but make sure that there's someone that is trustworthy, because there's a lot of people that are just in it for one thing, and that's just to make money from you. And so you just have to really kind of make sure that the individual's been around for quite a while, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's why not only do I resonate with Tony Robbins, because he's been doing this for 40 something years, right? Yeah. And Dean, I think, has been doing it for like 25 years, but the two of them together, they have just been amazing with reaching out and showing that they are giving just as much as they're getting. And that's what I want to do. I truly believe that the more we give, the more we get. And that's not why I'm doing it. I love helping people. And if I can do it, then I'm going to do it. And that's what I feel like that's why I'm here. I'm supposed to be helping as many people as I can.
Mm. So there's a very strong message there of really giving as much as you can, giving more, and it comes back. And there's something in that there. And also just being able to surround yourself with people who influence you in such a positive manner, surrounding yourself with people who are supportive. And so those are very good tips. Can you tell me, let's go over a little bit more about what your offer is, because I think that it is such a beautiful, generous offer. Tell us more. And I do have your information running on the bottom, www.donna-franklin.com. And I'll say that one more time, www.donna/franklin.com. So tell us more about what you're doing here.
So on my website, I actually created it myself. I went through a company called ClickFunnels, and I created the website myself. And what it is, you can, so I have a video to explain a little bit, and then I have people that have read the book and how it's impacted them. So they have video. I have video on there.
Testimonials.
Testimonials,
Great.
exactly.
Great.
And so anyone that wants to, they can just go and they can just kind of peruse. If they want to purchase the book, that's great. They can also,
yes, they do.
like I said, yeah. And so then they could also do the video or the audio, excuse me, and then they can get the full course to go along with the book, because you know as well as I do, when we read something, if we don't do something like take action to put that into our bodies and into our souls and into our minds, then we don't retain it. And so that's why I wrote the course, is so that it will help someone to know what I did to get through what I had gone through and help them to do the same thing. And so that's really what my website's all about. But to me, it's really about a means to where I want to be, and it's to help as many people as I can. So that's really what it's all about.
That is so great. And remind us again, what happens when we purchase your book?
As far as helping the children?
The donations.
Yeah.
That piece where, my gosh, you really truly do have that giving mentality.
Yeah, I'm so excited, because I thank you so much for having me on your show, because I know it's going to reach so many people, and I know it'll help them personally, but it's also going to help so many others, right? And so that's why I'm so grateful. Again, thank you again for having me on your show, just so that it can reach more people, and that I can affect more of these kids' lives, because I want to end poverty in the United States and all across the world. It would be amazing if we can do that. And there's so many organizations that are doing that. But honestly, I'm just starting where I can, right? And then I want to expand it. But we should not have poverty in this amazing country, right? And so that's why I'm like, I've got to do this. So it's like a driving force. I'm going to do this. And with everyone's help, that's how we're going to be able to do it. It's just get it done, right?
I love that. Thank you, Donna. And thank you for the kind words, and you're more than welcome. It's our pleasure here. And I just greatly appreciate your story and your wisdom from your very humble beginnings. And as I like to say, I love those, the underdog stories, where it shows that you rise up from that, rise from the ashes, and then you start making this impact. And you are absolutely making a difference and an impact in the world. And so gratefully appreciated.
Okay.
And I want to let our viewers know, as we come to a closing today, to reach Donna Franklin, purchase her book. You're doing more greater good than that. And also here on the Wellness Driven Life Show, we are here, and this is all possible to bring these incredible guests and their incredible stories through your generous contributions. So donate to the Wellness Driven Life Show once monthly, weekly, annually, any price. It all matters and all makes a big difference. When you donate on our website at www.thewellnessdrivenlifeshow.com, you will receive a great email follow-up, and you can keep that for your records. So thank you again, Donna. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience today?
Oh gosh, we've covered so many things. Oh, there is one thing, and I have to tell you. So I'm on this journey, and a lot of people don't understand the journey, right? And one of the things that Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins do is they bring in great guests. And Trent Shelton is a former NFL player, and he is now millions follow him on his social media. And so, but for 3 years, he had no one following him except his mom and family members. But now he has millions. But one thing that he said when we were at an event with him, he said, no one else was given what God has given to you. God gives you what your story, what your vision needs to be. And they won't get it because he didn't give it to them. So if you have people, kind of going, why are you doing that? Why aren't you doing something else? That type of thing. Every time I have that, somebody says that, I think of Trent, because when he said that, it resonated so much with me, because I thought, he's right. Because God gives us our own visions of what it needs to look like for us. And so don't expect anybody else to get it. And you know what? They don't have to. You just have to do it yourself. And just like this show, I guarantee you, it wasn't something that you grew up thinking, I'm going to have my own show, right? But that's been given to you. And that's something that you are doing to help so many. Just like every one of your audience has something that they are either supposed to do or are already doing. And so just keep that in mind. Nobody else has nobody else was given what your vision is supposed to be. You are given that. So just go with that.
So take it and run with it.
Take it and run. That's right. Exactly.
Oh, that's such a beautiful ending. Thank you so much for that message, Donna. That is awesome. And that's definitely what we're about. So thank you so much. And thank you, everyone who's watching. And when you leave your comments in the comment section, when you're watching the recording of this show, after the fact, after the live, we're here and happy to answer any questions. So thank you again, Donna. And until next time, goodbye for now.
My pleasure. Thank you, April.